Swim check 1, 2. Bike check 1, 2. Run check 1, 2. I think we're ready. Let's try this. Welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast, a podcast where we explore the sport of triathlon from a variety of perspectives to help beginner triathletes on their journey. I am your host, Mashonda Shines. Well, welcome back to another edition of Try Beginner's Luck. I am being so goofy as if I just had a brain freeze and don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I really do. I think I had a thought of talking about how I was getting so excited about springtime, and then it's turned back to winter and having to navigate the cold weather again. And my body is like, I don't think so. However, I am excited that we are getting some crisp weather, because I'm sure in the summertime I'll be complaining about, oh my gosh, it's so hot, humid. So I guess I should really be just grateful that we have some weather, that we still get to do the things that we love, and we still get to work out and get to enjoy the outdoors. And we just finished cherry blossom season here in DC. And so that's always a way that picks everyone's spirits up. Well, today, so I got a call a couple of weeks ago from my friend Dina, and she's like, listen, I just met this woman and you have to have her on your podcast. Me, I'm like, okay, tell me more. So she told me more, and I was like, yes, send me her information. So we went back and forth a couple of times. We finally got a date, and today is the day. And I am so excited to have this amazing athlete who got her start at the age of 60 in triathlon. Now, the backstory is when she was in grad school, she started swimming and running as an outlet and a way to relieve stress. However, someone, just like always, we have a friend who's like, I think you should do this. So they said, join a master swim team. And she did. But with life, someone asked her, hey, why don't you try a triathlon? And she was like, hey, I stopped there. I'm not ready to do that, because she didn't want to fall off her bike. Now, listen, I'm sure many of us have these, issues with the bike and wanting to fall off, and it's a real thing. Few years passed by, and the opportunity came again when she was diagnosed with osteopenia. I think I pronounced that correctly, but if I didn't, you guys will get it. And she happened to be in Washington, D.C. at the time and joined the National Capital Y-Tri team. What? Who knew that I would get an opportunity to talk to a member of Capital Y-Tri team from years prior to me becoming a member of Capital Y-Tri team? But what this does say is that the world of triathlon is smaller than we think. And even though this athlete got her start at 60 years old, she is kicking butt and taking names. She has now completed or competed as an All-American, Team USA in the Olympic and sprint distance, and she's the 2023 long distance AquaBike champion. What? Yes, I am so excited to welcome to this podcast, Miss Mary Hager. Mary, welcome on into the Try Beginner's Luck podcast. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you.
I'm so excited. It brings me such joy, right? Because do you not know how many people let fear hold them back?
I do. I know a lot of people who have fear. And like me, when I was in my 20s, of falling off my bike, which I did several times in commuter traffic. I also know people who have fear just because they're not sure they can do it. And then I know people who have fear just because they're afraid they're going to embarrass themselves.
Let's put a pin right there, Mary. We should talk about that a little bit, because I want to know, and I don't want to interject what I think it is because I have my own challenges that I've heard and experienced from being embarrassed for trying. But what are some of those things that hold people back because they're embarrassed?
Because I think they feel that they're going to be compared to someone, either another competitor, or they may be actually comparing themselves to maybe another time they did before. And in fact, I have a little bit of that myself. I forgot to tell you that I broke my arm doing a triathlon last fall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was at Worlds. It was another Worlds, and it was quite a course. The swim in the Mediterranean Ocean was wonderful.
Mm,
The bike consisted of three loops. Then in those three loops, there were eight hairpin turns. So I really focused hard. And then when I got to the run, I started the run and I went to turn and throw away my cup of water, empty cup of water, and I fell.
no way.
And I was third place, second to Germany uh, and Great Britain, which was in first place. And I could have walked it and still kept my bronze because there were still a lot of women behind me in my age group. But now I have a plate and 10 screws in my arm, and I'm back swimming again. I'm a little afraid of, well, I just did a 5K. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to stay on my feet, but I did. And how fast I do it, it doesn't matter. I'm just sticking at
Come on, Mary.
it.
So that was such a mouthful. I think when you were talking about, well, one, I'm really happy that you are back in the saddle and trying again after falling because having a fall and hurting yourself can definitely put a damper on wanting to get back out there again. And two, when you talked about people comparing themselves to who they used to be, that's a mouthful. And I've experienced that with, people who are in my age group, comparing themselves to who they were 5 years from now or 5 years ago. And I'm like, 5 years ago was back in the past. You got to accept and appreciate where you are today in order to be able to really enjoy the moment. And that's so hard, especially when you've quote unquote experienced some challenges and trials and injuries. So I totally get that. And wow, how incredible is it that you're back up and swimming again? And do you have aspirations this year to go to Worlds again?
I decided that this year, this summer was the time for me to focus on my husband. And so I had an opportunity to go to Worlds in Australia for AquaBike and Pontevedra for triathlon. And I said, nah, I'm just going to chill this year. But I'm
Mm,
still doing 4 triathlons. I'm just doing them stateside.
stateside, yeah.
Yeah.
This you priorities. That's another thing sometimes us triathletes have a challenge with knowing when to push the limits in terms of doing a lot of races and knowing when to say, hey, I need to switch my focus for a season. And it doesn't mean you have to give it up. It just means you need to switch your focus. How, and I want to ask this in a way that's helpful. How hard was it for you to make that decision to switch your focus and priorities for this year?
You know, it really wasn't that hard because I love the game, and I know I can get back in it.
Okay.
So I know where the worlds are next summer, and I said, I've been there before. I think my husband's been wanting to do several things, and I said, yep, your turn. It's your turn.
The trade-off.
That wasn't hard for me this year. And the following year, they publish those dates and places like 2, 3 years out. Um, I'll be tempted.
Okay.
I'll be tempted.
Okay. Well, I love it. The trade-off is real and being able to, pick your seasons and what you choose to do. And it's just always it's a blessing that we get to do this. So,
I agree, 100%. And you know, I see all kinds of people out there, and they're really doing a good job. They're really working hard. I mean, the different races I've done over time, and I am just impressed with the people who are out there for their first time, you
me
know,
too.
and that takes a lot of bravery.
It
It does.
does. A
It-
good first timer it means the world to me to see people out there trying, especially those who um, are trying like later in life, right? Because that's when most people are scared to do anything. They are like, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get injured. And it takes even more courage, I think, to try when you are more seasoned at life and have experienced things and your body feels differently. Like I'm in my 40s and I wake up and I'm like, ooh, okay.
Mhm.
And so my body doesn't bounce back the same way it does or did when I was 30. And so I just appreciate when I get to interview people who, like yourself, who started above 50. I interviewed a gentleman earlier this year, McKinley, and he started in his 50s, or maybe it was 60 as well. Anyway, he started later in life and he has no plans of slowing down because it really is invigorating and it keeps you mobile. So, what are some of the benefits that you've experienced with trying um, and later in life?
Well, I've learned that the aches and pains that you get one season may not be there the next season. You'll just get another different one. So you don't quit. You live through them and you modify your approach. Um, so that's one thing that uh, really matters that I've learned. Um, and being older, I had a what I perceived to be a time limit. And this may sound strange, but my mother and her mother lived to be 85. So when I turned 60, I said, oh my God, I better get out there and do this before I can't. And I never thought that when I started my first sprint triathlon with Y-Tri up there in the beautiful Schuylkill River in Philadelphia, that I would go on and 10 years later run my first marathon or do my first half Ironman. It's just I had no and expectation that I'd be doing any of those things. But the best part is I developed friends and a community to train with. It's no fun and it's very boring to just train by yourself and talk to yourself in the water. That's what you have to do. And it's fun to have friends to go bike with and run with. And that has been a one dimension that's just I'm so thankful for of all the training.
Yeah, community matters, especially when you're doing this sport.
Yeah.
I mean, you can train by yourself and it's fine when you have to, but it makes a difference when you train with other people because your motivation just changes in a way that, you could be having low energy and then you meet up with your friend and you're like, okay, let's go. We can
Yeah.
do this. We got this. But when you talked about doing your first race, in the Schuylkill River, that brought me back to Tri Rock Philly.
Yes.
So Tri Rock Philly, so what year? Because Tri Rock Philly was my first race in 2014.
Right.
And so you did your
Well,
first in what year?
oh, that would have been 2008.
Oh,
And see,
wow.
my math is, yeah, that would be right. 60 years. Yeah, 50 to 10. Yeah, 2008.
So 2008,
Yeah. And
Tri
then
Rock Philly was still I really wish somebody would bring that race back. That is a really, really good race.
it was
But
great.
it was a really good race. I mean, hard because it's very hilly in
Mhm.
Philadelphia, but it was a good race. So you did your first marathon at 70. So that's,
Well, 68. I'll have to be honest, 68.
I mean, 68. If
Well,
it's
I was
tri years, it
down
was
there. I had
69.
signed up to do the Marine Corps with my daughter, who I have two daughters. They both work and live in DC. Um, and I had turned my ankle and fractured it. And I said, I started out with her, and after a mile, I said, I can't do this. I'll just go over to the expo. And let's see, where was this? Um, in Germany, there was a marathon that you could put in a chance to win free um, admission to registration. So I put it, mine was called. They picked me.
Mm.
Um, and it, I said, honey, I just saved $60. Let's go to Germany and do that triathlon, Olympic distance.
So,
And no, it wasn't a triathlon. I'm sorry. It was the marathon. And Dusseldorf was the town. And that qualified me for Boston.
whoa.
So then I did Boston the next year. And then I requalified. And I got what women over 50 and 60 often get, a little lumbar compression.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't run anymore that distance because of the compression. So I didn't do that second Boston Marathon.
But you did one.
I did one. That was my bucket list. There you
There it
go.
is.
Did a sprint, did an Olympic, did a marathon, did a half iron triathlon bucket list, and that's so I'm happy.
I love it.
I don't
So,
have that many more goals to do, and I'm getting older too. So
or you're getting younger because triathlon
we'll
keeps you
see.
young. Now, your half iron, where did you do your half iron distance?
It was the initial time offering at State College in Pennsylvania. It's called the Happy Valley Ironman and the campus of Penn
Penn
State
State.
University.
So that was 3 years ago or so, two or
Yeah,
3 years.
yeah, yeah.
I love it.
And I have to tell you, um, that was a hilly experience. I mean, the swim was flat. That was great. But the bike had this 3 mile climb, and then there were some steep things. I saw men off their bikes pushing their bikes up the hill in a couple of places. It was hilly. And when I saw I thought I was done with the hills, and we had to do one more hill to get up there to the Coliseum. I forgot what they call that at Penn State to start the run. And the run was supposed to be flat. Well, that wasn't the true story. Then it was supposed to be rolling. And I have to tell you, that was one hard half marathon run. That run, that 13.1 miles, I couldn't wait to get it over.
Wow. Oh, I don't even know where to even go from there because what I really do like is that you were probably passing those men that were walking up their bikes up the hills. So that makes me happy. Yeah,
Me too.
it makes me really happy. No shade, but I'm just really happy to see, you know, just to see it happen. Um, well, let's just go back to 2008, your first
Ah,
triathlon in Tri Philly. Well, let's go back even further to the training program because YTRI has a unique training program. So let's talk about the training program and finding out about YTRI in order to even do your first try.
well, it was great because, well, I also had a niece working in DC and she had done it with Larry the year before. So she pushed me into this. And she said, "You can do it. They guarantee you can finish it." And I said, "Okay, if they promise me I can finish it." And Larry does let you have or I don't know if he still does, have a beer or a glass of wine the night before the race. It was okay with me. But just that promise that if we trained as a group, we could go out and do that sprint triathlon. Um, and it worked. It was just great. Working, and that's where I got to work out with people. It was just so much fun. And no, I did not like what's it called? Running up the exorcist stairs at all.
So the Exorcist stairs, okay, the crew that runs now, because Capital Y Tri has changed names. Well, it's now just National Capital Y Tri,
National Capital.
National Capital. But back then we were, I don't know, I think it's Capital Y Tri only now. National Capital was when I joined and when you were a part of it, when we were off of 17th Street.
Yes.
And so it was easy to run from 17th Street to the Exorcist stairs.
Yes.
They don't get to do that anymore.
Oh,
I know. They're a
just
lucky
come up
bunch.
the park by the whatever the name of the park is now on 16th.
That's it. They Meridian Hill.
Meridian Hill.
So they get a lot of
Mm.
Meridian Hill. Yeah.
Mm.
Which isn't, I mean, it's like picking your poison. Do you want the Exorcist stairs or do you want Meridian Hill? They are both equally challenging in their own way.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so
That was the only triathlon I did that summer. That because that was my goal. The next summer, my goal, I decided to ramp it up and do the Olympic distance at the same race in
okay.
Philadelphia.
Well, still, we got to go back because we're talking about the training program. So you finished the training program. Now let's talk about the actual first day. Larry, you guys probably had the pasta dinner at one of the little local restaurants
Yep.
um, near the Fremont Park. I think it's
Park.
Fremont Park.
Yeah. I think that's right. Or is it Fairmount?
Fairmount. Yes, Fairmount.
Yes.
And so, what was race day like for you? Let's start from getting your stuff and going to place your bike in transition for the first time.
Well, I had no idea what I was doing. I I just followed along and did what everybody else was doing. And that was okay. I mean, it's really anytime you do a race, any race for the first time, you you're going like, "Oh, what am I doing here? Who just stick with your friends and ask them a lot of questions.
That is it. Okay, so you didn't know what you were doing, but you're just following along. Now
Right.
it's time to walk the distance to get to the swim start. What was that like?
Well, first of all, I realized I had to swim upstream. Well, that was a loop swim. You go up the stream and then you come down with the current. We had to swim against the current and come back and get in.
Well, I'm so glad they changed it by the time I got there.
You be happy. You just be so thankful because that was quite an experience. And having been a swimmer, with Dave Scott,
Ooh,
trained how to swim because he really did teach me how to be a competitive swimmer. Um, I was just cool with it. I mean, hey, but I was shocked. I was
Mary, we got to pause. You can't name drop Dave Scott like that. Dave Scott, the what is it, six-time Kona winner, champion, Ironman champion.
That's right.
You can't. Okay, we got to put a pin. We'll put a pin in your first time story. Dave Scott, tell us more about this Dave Scott story and him teaching you how to swim. I'm curious.
Oh, yeah, I was in the master's team. I was in the beginner lane. I had taken a swimming aerobics class as a graduate student at Davis, but when I joined masters, well, I had to learn to do butterfly and back and breast, and Dave really pushed us. He had us all swim in meets. It was a real team thing, and it was a lot of fun. And I did learn to swim, and I did learn to advance myself. And Dave said, "Well, Mary, you're no expert, but you are respectable." And that is what made my day after swimming with him for, about 5 years, 3 to 5 years.
You're no expert, but you are respectable.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to be told,
I know.
but I did work. We swam every day for an hour.
Wow. Now, was Dave in triathlons at that time or?
No, no, he was a water polo player at
Hmm.
the University of California, Davis. And his water polo coach recruited him to be a master's coach. And he was the best instructor. And he has two sisters that are also swimmers. They would get in the pool and they would like lie on their back, basically, on the bottom of the pool and watch us swim over them and correct our stroke. Say, well, you need to do this. He was a great teacher. He really was. But no, he wasn't running at that time. Um, he had a beautiful girlfriend, but don't tell anybody. Oh my God.
You just told everybody.
Oh, well, she was gorgeous but that's way
Way back in those days.
back 50 years ago. Um,
Wow.
anyway, yeah, and we all loved him. He was very nice young man, and his parents were part of it too. In fact, his dad helped start Team USA Triathlon.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm. It's interesting to hear. I know Dave was one of the first to get inducted into the USA Triathlon Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But not knowing that his dad helped to start USA Triathlon, which tracks a little bit right because US Triathlon, I think maybe in 78 or 79 is when USA Triathlon became like the national governing body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, wow, wow. I'm I think this is why I love doing this podcast because I learned so much and I'm coming, to these stories not knowing much, but because we're having these conversations and things pique my curiosity, I'm like, oh, I want to know more. All right. Well, Dave Scott was not yet in the sport of triathlon when he was coaching. I'm curious to know when he got into sport and
Well,
now.
there is a story, and triathlon was just beginning to blossom in the 70s
Mhm.
as a sport. But and I knew they existed, and some of my swim buddies did them. But like I said, I could just see being in a crowd of bikes, like in a peloton, and bumping into somebody and falling over.
Yeah.
But we also ran together, the swimmers did. And so there was a 10-mile run in Davis. And we said, come on, Dave, come and run. You don't like swimming in meets, you like water polo, but maybe you'll like running. And he goes, oh, I don't think so. Well, he decided to enter 2 weeks before the race. So he trained for 2 weeks. He ran that his first 10-mile race in 60 minutes.
What?
He
Come again?
ran 6-minute miles in his first 10-mile race. And we
Wait,
all looked at him and said, uh, maybe you should consider triathlon.
wow. I love those who have that natural ability to run. It's not me.
You're not
It's not
me.
even in my DNA,
Yeah.
but I am so enamored, because I really have to work at it. But someone who can go out there after 2 weeks of just, let me just go out there and run and do a 6-minute mile, I think it's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh,
Even for 1 mile, let alone 10.
wow. Okay. Let's pick the pen back up where we stopped in your story, which was the swim and doing the loops and having to swim upstream, which I'm so sorry they made y'all do that because I can only imagine in the Schuylkill and the water. Oh, I don't even want to think about it. So we're here at T1, your first time going through transition from finishing your first swim to getting on the bike.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about T1. Because I don't know if I rented or owned my wetsuit then. I mean, it was back when you could rent
Mm-hmm.
at a shop, out in Virginia.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but it was okay. Um, and I got on the bike, and there's a hill that I didn't realize. I'll be honest with you. I was a scaredy cat. I was afraid of falling over. I wouldn't clip in to my bike going
Mm-hmm.
uphill in case I slowed down and fell over.
Listen, I've been there before, especially at that race. I don't think I clipped in my first race either. No, that's a lie. I did. But I had the SPDs, the ones that are like
Right.
mountain bike-ish.
That's what I had.
Yeah, wow. Strawberry Hill, I think
Uh-huh.
that's the steeper one.
Oh. And and the people were so kind. They go, come on, come on.
Yeah, yeah,
You're almost there, And I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't fall over.
yeah.
I did it. I did it.
And you did it. You did it scared. And it takes bravery to do things scared and then to repeat it and do it again. So we made
Yep.
it through the bike. You didn't
Yep.
fall.
Yep.
Now we're at T2.
Yeah. T2, you know, All I know is I ran and I finished. That's all. That was my goal. I don't remember much about that. That was quite, for a person who's losing their memory, that was quite a long time ago. Um, but I do remember finishing.
Mm. And what
And
was that feeling like?
well, it was a local race, and I have to be honest with you, I was very fortunate. There were only three people in my age group then, 60 to 64. So
Wow.
what a high was that? No, I wasn't first. I don't even think I was second. I don't remember. But I did finish. And that's when Larry Atkins said to me, "Oh, you got a medal." So there were three of you in the race. Boy, that has pushed me along, that statement to do, to train and try harder.
Mhm.
Because I'll be honest with you, starting back then, um, wherever I went, there were only three people in a race in my age group. So I always got a medal. That's the advantage of being older. And I always got told I was an inspiration, which got to be, oh no, oh no, please don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. So when I did get to go to, because I did well enough, I did go to nationals. And the best part of nationals, oh, there were 20, 30 women, 40 women in my age group. I actually got to compete
Okay.
against a larger group of women. And that was a wonderful thing uh, for me. And I will, if I may, tell you a story related to that first race in nationals.
Yes, please. Because this is exciting. And for those of you who are listening, USA Age Group Nationals is where that's like the Olympics for age groupers. It's where everyone across the country gets to come to a destination that USA Triathlon puts on this race at whatever location they put it on. And you get to compete against everyone in the nation. And it is incredible. It's vibrant atmosphere. I am grateful to be one of the announcers now with Tim Yant and what's the crew called?
Victoria? Is she?
No,
No.
no, I
Oh,
know,
the Olympian.
uh, I know her name. Uh, well, anyway, Tim Yant makes sure that we are all together. Karen
Yes.
Smyers. Okay, yes,
Yes.
Karen
Yes.
Smyers. And then this year we did have the Olympian.
Yes.
Um, his name is escaping me because it's the end of the workday for me. So my brain is like, oh, not thinking. But anyway, it's a group of us, and it's really a vibrant finish line atmosphere.
It is. It is. And I really liked uh nationals last year.
In Atlantic City.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
And
good.
I was lucky because I had done the Atlantic City try the month before, so I was comfortable with the course, even though it was slightly different. I was like, all right, this is nice.
Okay. Okay, so
But
tell us your story.
the story is my husband's a foodie, and there was a restaurant he wanted to go, and he said, "Well, Mary, I made reservations. I must have been Mater's German restaurant in Milwaukee." And I said, "Well, what time?" And he goes, 6:30. I go, "Okay. Well, by the way, that's during the award ceremony." He goes, "Well, you're not going to place." So I said, "Okay." So when I was finishing the run, man, I was going to show him. And that last mile, I mean, I ran as hard as I could to show my husband he was going to have to change the reservations. I did. I was ninth. They because they have the nine top people, and that made my day. That was the most fun race I've had.
I
That was my
love
first
that.
nationals. Talk about new experience.
New experience and placing in top 10 in the country. Game
I
changer.
really had to I really had to let Larry know about that.
Do tell, how did that conversation go?
Oh, he said congrats.
In Larry fashion.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome. But since then, so if you placed ninth at age group nationals, that means, was that your first year also making it to worlds?
I don't think I went that year because of schedule conflict.
You qualified to go.
I qualified to go. It was in Chicago, I think, that year, and I did not go.
Okay. Wow. Well, I love, for those of you who are listening and have people in your life who are older, who are scared, may feel ashamed to try, encourage them to just get moving, because you just don't know what could happen if you bet on yourself. Really get out there and encourage people to just move. It's a good way to see the world and get to train. And some of the best places that you get to go is on your bike sometimes, just being out on the bike and being able to, travel down nooks and crannies that you wouldn't be able to in a car and or on foot. So I just encourage you all to just keep trying no matter what. And some seasons may be better than others, like Mary said, and different seasons may cause different things to ache, but you work through that. But just don't give up. Yeah. Well, Mary, you were long course, excuse me, you were world's, the 2023 long course world's champion that was held in Ibiza. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. Like I say Ibiza, but I think they pronounce it Ibiza or
Well, it
some way.
depends if
Anyway,
I have a Castilian accent.
how did that feel being the world champion in AquaBike?
It was amazing. It was wonderful. And I will have to tell you, um, uh, was it Larry? No, it was another guy told me, a slow start is a fast finish. So I went out at a measured pace on that 75-mile bike, but I passed the men in my age group on the bike.
Biking must be your jam, Mary.
I love it. Give me a hill.
Ah. Okay. I don't know if you guys just made this connection like I did. The very thing that Mary was afraid of is the very thing that she's crushing it at. I wonder how many of us, and I'm talking to myself right now, like I can feel it coming up. The thing that scares us the most is the one thing where we will have the most like success and enjoy it the most. I'm just in awe that you're one, you like hilly courses, because that's a whole different thing. That means you got a descent.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I have friends who are afraid to descend fast.
And you descent fast now.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh yeah. Like you see how that the little humble confidence, like, oh yeah, like yes.
And
But
by the way, I've had, let's see, I think two significant bike accidents. One, I broke my pelvis, fractured it, and another one, I broke my scapula. That was not in race, that was in training. Well, I got back on my bike. I was afraid to get back on my bike. And as soon as I've gone out there and pedaled for 5 minutes, I'm in my happy place.
whoa, whoa. Well, for those of us who or have had injuries, the bounce back game seems to be where it's at. Wow. Wow. Mary, this has definitely excited me to enter the outdoor cycling season because it's still cold. So I haven't taken the bike outside yet.
Me
But
neither.
I know. It's like if it's below a certain temperature, it's on the trainer. And then once it warms up and it's consistently warm, we can go out and play in the outdoors. Um, this has been exciting and really been an honor to like just hear your story and to see how we were a part of the same group, essentially just different, different seasons apart. But Larry has been such an institution in my life, especially, starting the program and being at the time newish to DC and being such a wealth of knowledge. And I'm just so excited. And this year is the 25th year of Why Try. So been around for 25 years and I've had the honor of being a part of it for this is my 11th season. And so it's, when you see programs that have been around, they're doing something right. And Capital Y Try is definitely more of a club team. Like you know, it's community based, it's community driven, all volunteer coaching happens. And it's a really great, friendly, and welcoming environment. With that said, Mary, congratulations on all the things you've accomplished, for turning around what you were scared to do into being your best leg and continuing to defy the odds and trying no matter what. With that said, we have rapid fire, and I don't let anyone leave without that. So let's get right to it. Favorite distance?
Oh, I like that long distance stuff.
Okay. Long distance.
I'm no sprinter.
Okay. What is one piece of equipment or gear that you can't go without?
Besides chamois cream. Oh, of course, a watch. A watch, of
A
course.
watch. Okay. Chamois cream is important.
Mm.
Very important. You learn quickly about what chamois cream is necessary for after you've had some uncomfortable showers or, or bathroom breaks. However, um, let's see. When you don't feel motivated, how do you push through and get the workout done?
I just suffer guilt, get myself going. But I do have a mantra that I repeat to myself when I'm swimming in a race.
Mm-hmm.
It is, this will end.
Mm,
This will end. And it's with my stroke, it beats with my stroke. So whatever workout that you don't feel like doing, you go do it and it will end.
mm. Sounds about like my run today. I was like, oh, I do not
Oh,
want to do this. Oh,
mine was terrible yesterday.
and I was like, it's cold outside. I'm out here. The wind is blowing. but this will end. And I love it because it did. It came to an end. Um, Favorite post-workout food?
Besides a beer.
Mary, you like to party. I'm gonna come hang out with you. I love it.
Oh, okay. Favorite food, banana.
Banana. All right.
Yeah, but and I have to tell you at that Dusseldorf um triathlon, not triathlon, marathon. I get my words mixed up. The marathon. At the finish of the marathon, they had jelly donuts and non-alcohol beer.
Hmm.
What I wanted was banana and chocolate milk,
Mm. So
not a
after a race, you
donut and
like
a
bananas and
non-alcohol.
chocolate milk.
Yeah.
It's good to know. I know the bike is your favorite. Where is your favorite place to bike?
Anywhere I can cycle with my friends.
It's a good answer.
And it's hilly here. So we get a lot of good training on the hills.
Now you're in where? Delaware?
I'm in New Jersey.
New
I'm in
Jersey.
North Jersey. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's farmland out here, which is very nice.
Nice, nice, nice. Who would be your dream training partner, alive or historical?
Uh-oh. What's the other one?
Alive or historical?
Oh, well, if he'll go slow, it'll be Dave.
Yeah. We have to get in contact with Dave. I have to make that happen.
But I have so many friends. They're all my favorite.
I love it. Taper week, love it or hate it?
It's a little anxiety provoking. Um, you get antsy.
Yeah, yeah. So do you love it or hate it?
I love it.
Okay. All right. And we don't let anyone leave without this question being asked. Ask.
Hmm.
Do you pee on the bike or get off and take a proper pee break?
I I have never peed on the bike. I get off.
Spoken like a true lady.
I am a lady. And I have a friend who's I train with. She's 75 now. She just informed me a couple years ago she's peed in the water for the first time while swimming. In her
Wow.
life, in her
Wow.
life. I go like, what? And she was in the Caribbean. I mean, it wasn't a swimming pool.
Oh, so she's left her mark in the Caribbean Sea. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, I have a question. I feel like you think I don't want to assume. So do you feel like it's okay to pee in the water and not pee on your bike?
I just can't. I just couldn't do I just not coordinated enough to do it on the bike. I probably crashed my bike.
Mm,
Never done it.
okay. Well, it's all right. Thank
Well,
you so much, Mary.
I will tell you, it's okay to pee in your wetsuit anytime you want.
That is true. It warms you up too sometimes.
Yes, it is wonderful.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Mary, for being with me today. Thank you for making it happen. Thank you, Dina, for texting me and was like, you have to have Mary on your podcast. And we were able to make it happen. So I love my friends and just so grateful for them. We have this saying on Try Beginner's Luck, whenever you try beginner's luck, you always win. And that's a true thing. Remember to view or share with your friends. Follow Try Beginner's Luck on Instagram. We're on all the major platforms, including audio. So if you're an audiobook person, we're on audio. And we're also on YouTube. We are trying to increase our followings. And so I have a call to action. Please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe so that you can get the notifications. And when you listen for at least 20 minutes straight. That's the goal. Listen for 20 minutes straight, then you can take a break or do whatever you need to do. But we want you to listen all the way through. My name is Mashonda Miles, also known as Mashonda Shines. And for today, we are out. Peace. Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. We need your help so we can continue to try at TBL. So for more information on where you can find and subscribe to this podcast, visit www.trybeginnersluck.com. And don't forget, whenever you try beginner's luck, you always win.